I want to talk about effective teams very shortly for you to maybe trigger some further thoughts or inspire you for further thinking. Effective teams. Let's stop for a moment. We regularly using concepts or expressions like successful organizations, competent managers, or effective teams. Do we have a proper definition for that? For example, if I'm asking you that, how would you define effective teams? If you want, you can help me typing it into the chat box. So most probably there will be some common elements of these definitions, some overlapping, but I doubt that we think the same about what effective team means fully. Actually, this was the main trigger for Google as well, who started the research some years ago, which they called Project Aristotle, as a tribute to the Aristotle quote, "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts." Is it familiar? I think it is, because this is what we used to use for teams, that a team is greater than the sum of team members. Actually, this project was run in 2012, and it was researching what are the major attributes of a high-performing team. Google was studying 180 different teams. Different means different in size, different in the fields of operation, different in terms of seniority, and so on and so forth. Some agile teams, some classical operating teams, and so on and so forth. And at the end of this research, they identified 5 crucial elements every high-performing team must have. And I would like to share with you the results. So is it a surprise or not? Actually, it was mentioned by you as well as the third most important factor or attribute of an effective team. So the most important element of being a team high performer is the psychological safety. I hope that you all know this expression. Actually, this is not that widely known. It's rooted back to Amy Edmondson's researches and studies. And actually, the meaning of psychological safety is that I feel safe when I raise a question, when I challenge my boss, when I'm asking something from my team members. So I'm not afraid to take a risk. And I'm not afraid to show myself as a vulnerable person. So psychological safety is a must-have attribute. The second most important was actually what you did not select. Dependability. Actually, dependability means that you are responsible and you make, as a team member, things done. You get things done on time and according to the standards, so you meet your promises. Because actually this is the root of trust. It means also that you said that individual competencies and individual performance is not that important, and this is absolutely true. Reliability as an individual value, much more important than the competencies and the performance when we are talking about team performance. The third element is pretty clear, just like clarity. Clarity of goals, clarity of the vision of the team, clarity of roles and responsibilities we need to be able to perform. Just as, in line with your votes, the meaning, if I have a purpose to work for, then I belong better, then I can engage to the team better, and then the team can perform better. And finally, the fifth element was and is the impact. That team members feel that their work really matters and has an impact on the team overall performance. So by Google, by this Aristotle project, these 5 attributes were mainly mentioned by those teams who are high performance. Psychological safety, so I feel safe. I can rely on my team members. There is a clear structure, clear roles and responsibilities within my team. There is a meaning I can belong to. And finally, I feel that my work has an impact on the entire team. I stop for 15 seconds here because I want you to think a bit, to assess your team, the team you lead or the team you are working in. So to what extent your team has these attributes in the current momentum. Don't share it with us or with others. This is very personal and private information, but please think it over. Do you have, on a scale of 1 to 10, full safety psychologically, and the other 4? So 15 seconds. Three, two, one. Probably this was enough. If not, then of course you can reconsider it, and probably you can involve also your teammates or your colleagues to reconsider these 5 aspects. And actually this very short mini assessment tries to help you to identify which is the areas to work on to improve. But of course, these 5 attributes needed to have a high performing team. But not every team's high performing. Yeah, I think we as well in Develor, and probably in your case as well, there are some teams with some conflicts where people don't trust each other, where these conflicts are deepening by the time, or people are leaving, people are disengaged, and so on and so forth. And as a result, the performance is not there. But when we are talking about conflicts, disengagement, people are leaving, and so on and so forth, what are these? Are these symptoms or the root causes of the problem? Honestly speaking, I think these are mainly symptoms. And you know it well. If we want to find the cure for the problems, then first we have to identify the root causes. We can have very different root causes. Some skill related. For example, the team leader does not have the proper team building or team management or team motivation skills. But also team members might lack of some proper skills to make the expected communication happen or to resolve the conflicts. On the other side, of course, also the communication cannot be as frequent or in terms of quality, not as expected. Just like if psychological safety missing, or the vision is missing, or there are no teamwork related routines set, accepted, and shared. These are real issues. And actually, these are the root causes to solve, not the symptoms. Conflict is a consequence. Disengagement is a consequence. And what we sense as a consulting and people development company, sometimes clients turn to us mentioning the symptoms and not the reasons behind. And if we look at it, how to improve or how to resolve those issues, then first we have to be sure what are the real root causes to be resolved. Actually, in many cases, we see that there is a problem with the team spirit, that people don't fight for each other. Probably they don't trust either, or they don't know each other deeply, just on the surface. And actually, this is when we turn to the most obvious solution for teamwork. Let's organize a team building session. It must be outdoor if possible, probably rock climbing, as challenging as possible. And you know what? In many cases, I experienced that after a 2 days team building course, the situation became worse than original. Why? Because the problem was not the missing of common past or common experiences, or the problem was not that team members did not know each other properly, but probably because, as I mentioned earlier, some teamwork related skills were missing for the team leader or for the team members. So in that case, not the team building event, the proper choice, but probably skill development with classical coaching or training tools. Training the manager or training, coaching the entire team, how to resolve conflicts, how to communicate properly, how to grow, and for the managers especially, how to guide my team through different type of challenges and different phases of the team development. And if we are talking about team spirit and competencies, the picture is still not full, because there is an important third aspect, which in many cases are behind of the symptoms, and this is the problems with the operational aspects, like the lack of goals or the not properly set and shared roles and responsibilities. And especially what noticed in many cases, there are no proper team routines in place. Team routines are those regular activities like the meetings or the one-on-ones, which might help the team to communicate and collaborate as good as possible. But there is nowadays, actually in 2022, a new aspect. And this new aspect is the pandemic, the crisis. Actually, the pandemic provided a twist for the whole story. I know that being an efficient team was a challenge even before the pandemic. But now it's maybe even a bigger challenge. Why? Because there is a new aspect. The aspect of remote operation, or in many organizations, the hybrid type of operation, where some people are working in the office, from the office, some from home, some partially from home, some fully from home. So again, there are totally new challenges in terms of team building, operational improvement, and skill development. Because we have to learn how to lead and build a remote team. As a manager, it's not necessarily obvious for us or for me how to do that in a remote or hybrid environment. The same, probably we set goals and responsibilities for the previous era. But now, when everything is in changing and transformation, probably these roles and responsibilities should be reconsidered. And finally, what we sense in many cases, that there were great routines what we used and applied in our operation, and we performed very well as a team. But now we don't have the proper remote or hybrid routines. So the reason why I shared these 3 slides with you, and I don't want to waste your time, neither the time of our guest stars, I just wanted to trigger a thinking. So there are 5 major attributes of efficient and effective high-performing teams, from psychological safety to impact. If we don't have the high performance, we have to assess what's behind, and don't let the symptoms lead you. Dig deeper. Try to figure out the real root causes. And if you know the real root causes, we can find, and you can find, the real cure, which might be team building. Probably in several cases it works very well, but in many other cases the skill development, and in many, many cases the improvement of the operation systems, processes, goals, and team routines, especially in the hybrid or remote environment.